The Geekazine Weekly Podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Hey everybody, welcome to the Geekazine Weekly Podcast, episode number 171 for the 29th of December, the last of the year, and of course the week before Consumer Electronics Show. We got a lot of great stuff. We're going to talk about Amazon, AOL, Apple, Google TV, and a whole lot more. So let's get that scrubby out and let's get started, shall we?
Welcome to Geekazine, a weekly audio magazine for the geek in all of us. Now, here is your host, Jeffrey Powers.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. I'm your humble but yet very efficient host, Jeffrey Powers, over at the Geek Studio, Geek Lair, Geek whatever, in cold but yet warming up Wisconsin, warming up to get me ready for the Las Vegas/Dallas experience that's coming up very, very soon. I'm very, very excited, and go from there. How you doing? My name is Jeffrey Powers. Over at Geekazine, GeekAzine.com is where you want to go. And, of course, you will see all the cool stuff ever at Geekazine, including the day in tech history, including the 5 tech things you should know about, including the special media feed for all the CES action that's going to be coming your way very, very soon. And, of course, everything else that's related with Geekazine, because that's how we roll with it. So, hey, I want some clouds early. Let's get the cloud. Let's get this look going. Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Ooh, I guess I got a little bit of a light issue here. Got a little right there. So anyway, how you doing? If this is the first time that you've watched the show or listened to the show, well, thank you very much for coming down to the show. All you have to do is go over to Geekazine.com and you can check out everything Geekazine. If you go over to Geekazine.com, you can actually subscribe to the show notes. All you have to do is go to Geekazine.com and scroll down just a little bit, and there's a little subscribe area. It'll ask you for your email address, and then, of course, that'll get you show notes on a weekly basis. Of course, we record this every single Tuesday. Let's do this. This is a better cloud thing. Every single Tuesday. We record every single Tuesday and give it to you as quick as possible in video and in audio format. So, and of course, we are now running in H.264. Yay. You might be going, well, what's that? It's just a video codec. It's so you can play it on your big screen TVs, so you can sit in your living rooms and sit on your couches and go, hey, he's got a big head. He's got a big beard. That guy's big. He's very big. Very, very big. I can tell you, he's very, very big. Anyway, you go, what? Did you take something here? No. We're just having a little bit of fun. We're gonna change a few things up. You know, at the beginning of the year, it's time for resolutions, and I'm gonna tell you something. The resolution of the Geekazine podcast has been long awaited, long figured out. I've been trying to figure out, what do I need to do to change this thing up? Well, the big thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing shows with other people. And basically what's going to happen is that we are going to bring in other guests, and we're going to do a Skype session. We're going to talk about a few things. Hopefully we won't have any disconnects or anything like that. But then once we just get a couple shows going, we'll talk back and forth, and hopefully get you some better shows. We're going to expand the family. We're going to get some more shows in here. In fact, this week, if everything works well, I will be putting down a couple shows in the special media feed right before CES, and you'll see some of the cool stuff that I've been working on. For those of you who are really into the OTT, that's the lines of where we're going with these special episodes. And go from there. So, anyway, hey, you can subscribe via a feed burner. You can go through Zoom, the iTunes store. Just rank me, put 1 star on it. 1 star, 1 lousy star. That's all you need to do. Put 1 star in there. Tech Podcast Network, of course. If it's tech, it's here. The Blueberry Network at BLUBRRY.com. And, of course, we're on Stitcher. And we've got the Geekazine, the special Geekazine channel over at Stitcher. So thanks a lot to the guys over at Stitcher for doing that. I really, 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 really appreciate that. So, all right, go over to the website. I told you about that. Blah, blah, blah. We got a lot of great stuff. Frank's been doing some writing. I've been doing some writing. If you haven't checked it out, check out the the article I wrote yesterday. Let me point to that really quick. Or the day before. It's the 10 movies that might have been different if WikiLeaks was around at the time. Um, Movies like They Live and The Insider, and which was a true story. Good Morning Vietnam. There's 10 movies in here, and there's reasons why I say, hey, check out those 10 movies. And there's a good reason. It's a lot of fun. It's a pretty cool little read, at least I think. But then again, I wrote it, so. Have gotten a couple tweets saying, hey, I really enjoyed that article. So thanks a lot to everybody who tweeted back. Of course, if you do like it, please retweet it or go down and dig it or something like that. We've got all the social links right on the site right there. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, of course, yes, I am going to the Consumer Electronics Show. And yes, it is 5 days away. Just came back from the FedEx store. Shipped out 2 big boxes. It wasn't too bad on my pocketbook, but definitely glad that it's going out that route. And I've got a lot of stuff going. We're going to, of course, we got the booth. The booth number is 35176. And halfway through in the video today, we're going to show you what Andy McCaskey's been working on over at It's over at tpn.tv. Of course, if you haven't been over to tpn.tv, you should probably go. This is where all the tech podcast video is going to happen. We're going to have the primary channel video. We're going to have the back channel video of both streams. You'll be able to connect from there. And, of course, the countdown, the CES countdown. Andy has been working really hard in making these look, and he makes them look exquisite. So he puts a lot of work into them. And it's just counting down until CES, so check that out. Of course, hey, I'm going to show you some stuff here. First of all, the CES back channel stream is right here. Let's point it in here really quick. Up on the right here, it says CES 2011 info. You have the back channel stream. Then you have all the interview applications, the floor interview application, the live broadcast application. For those businesses that are out in Vegas going to Consumer Electronics Show, check those 2 out. You know, you got to sign up. We still have a lot of spots left in our interview times during the whole weekend of 35 hours of live stream interviews. Of course, we will be up as much as Ustream will let us be up. And, of course, if you still want to be a sponsor for CES, you are more than welcome to come over to Geekazine and say, hey, I want to be a sponsor, or go over to tpn.tv and say, hey, I want to be a sponsor too. That's over at techpodcasts.tv. Of course, going to CES. Now, here's the interesting thing, folks. I got a phone call 2 weeks ago, and they said, you are going to CES, and we know that, but when do you get done? And I go, well, I'm supposed to fly out Tuesday, I think that's the 11th of January. And they say, any way that we can drag you away from CES on Monday or something like that? And I said, well, you know, I'd rather not, but we checked out some stuff here. Everything works out. It's actually a pretty cool opportunity. I don't know if I can talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. HP has invited me to go down to Dallas, Texas. And what we're doing is we're going to go down to Dallas, Texas. I'm going to get there. I'm taking the red eye to get there by Monday morning at 10 a.m. Because 10 a.m. we're going to go into Dallas Stadium and we're going to walk around and we're going to see the insides of Dallas Stadium. More important, that big scoreboard that's sitting in Dallas Stadium, we're going to get to check out that whole thing and how that gets powered. Like I said, I couldn't turn down the opportunity, so I had to change my plans. So it's going to be a little bit of rush towards the end of the week, but then when I get back, I'm going to have a ton of video to produce down, mix down, and make look happy and good. So we've got a lot of stuff, not only CES, but of course this special walkthrough through Dallas Stadium. And of course, we're going to be talking about HP infrastructure during those 2 days, so that should be pretty cool. So thanks to everybody that let me do that. I will be going down on the 10th, and of course, I'll be back by the 12th. So I spent half of January outside of Wisconsin. Yay! And just because that Wisconsin decided, well, we'll make it better for you. So we're going to have like temperatures in the 40s, close to 50 by the end of the week. And then once the New Year's is going to come, it's going to get cold again. So What can you do? Anyway, I hope you guys, everybody, speaking of which, on the East Coast, I hope you are doing well, shoveling out. Of course, there's the big football game between the Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles tonight. You might be doing that. I'm recording just a touch bit early because I got a call today asked to be an actor in a music video. So once I'm done with this, what I'm going to do is I am going to dress up and I am going to go off and I'm going to be a actor in a music video. So I'll tell you more about that a little bit later once things start to progress. So anyway, let's thank the sponsors and let's get into the show. Of course, we have all the sponsors for CES, but our two main sponsors, we gotta say hey. Hey, Wirecast, hi. Of course, that's this logo right here. That's that logo that you see every time that we do a show here. Wirecast, go over to telestream.com. They just came out with 4.0.1 of their Wirecast. And I got to tell you, there were some bugs in 4.0. They fixed them in 4.0.1. I'm very, very happy with the changes that they made. Of course, you got two versions. You have the regular version, and then you have the ultimate, I guess, the pro version, which is about it's twice the price. And the whole idea is that you can do things like this, like a really cool scoreboard and stuff like that. So that's over at telestreaming.com. Check that all out there. Of course, it is your life online. Back it up now, back it up often, and get it done before the end of the year, because that code GEEK gets you 15% off until till December 31st. Then it goes back to 10%. Back up your computer off-site. Get a 1-year membership, $4.95 a month per computer. So you get your computer all set and you set it up for Mozy. It starts backing stuff up into the cloud, secure encryption. It keeps all your files in a nice secure place and keeps it from fire and theft and other things. And even if you get a brand new computer, you can put the new computer in place and say, hey, Mozy, this is the new computer. Bring all the stuff back down. And you can go from there. You can even hook up a USB hard drive or another hard drive and back up on site, so you can have a personal copy of your backup as well as off site. There's so many reasons why you should use Mozy. Use it. And that code GEEK gets you 15% off for the next 3 days. Got 3 days to use that code. So use it now. Use it wisely. Back up now. Back up often. Back up off site with Mozy.com. And of course, hey, I forget to tell you about the Geekazine store. We do have some shirts for sale. All you have to do is go to cafepress.com/Geekazine, and you can get yourself a nice little Geekazine t-shirt for about $15 to $20, depending on if you're a man or a woman. Yes, sirree. Of course, the CES stuff, it's amazing how much we're going to save because of our sponsors over at CES, and one of them is the Luxor. It's been an amazing 2 months in talking to the Luxor. They've been doing everything under the sun to help us get all the stuff ready for CES. So thank you very much, Luxor. Get to the point and go to the one most unique. Well, there are a lot of unique hotels in Vegas, but have you ever stayed in a pyramid? Have you ever stayed in a pyramid for $40 a night? Well, that's what you're going to do. It's part of the MGM Resorts, and so you can go over to mgmmirage.com and go to Luxor. Of course, if you go to Geekazine, you're going to see that little link right there, the new Luxor. Please click on that, and that'll let everybody know that you came from Geekazine and the Tech Podcast Network coverage. And of course, you can get rates as low as $40 per night. And they got some great entertainment. They've got some great restaurants. There's just a lot of great stuff. That's over at the Luxor Hotels. And of course, audible.com is also a part of our CES live stream. Go over to audiblepodcast.com/CES for a 14-day free trial of Audible audiobooks. And you get one free download. And I've been listening. What have I been listening to lately? I like self-help books. So I went back to the Guerrilla Marketing book. I just kind of reading that up. Of course, I'm as you know, I'm creating my own ebook, and maybe somebody from Audible will read off my ebook. It's possible. You can get fiction, you can get nonfiction, you can get a whole ton of stuff. What I really like to do with my Audible subscription is actually read and listen to the podcast and listen to the audiobook, and it helps me focus a little bit better. Sometimes things get a little bit off, but hey, it's once you get used to it, it's very easy to do. So check that out over at audiblepodcast.com/CES. Of course, GoDaddy also signed on. As you know, I am I do have Geekazine over at GoDaddy, and they've got a special offer for you, those of you who do not have websites yet and are not part of GoDaddy. For brand new customers, go over to GoDaddy, and you can use that. You can get 25% off on your first order. I think the code is CES25. I had it up here. I should have kept it up, but I believe it's CES25, and that will get you the domains that you need for a special price of 25% off your first order. That's over at GoDaddy.com. All right, I think we've exhausted everything right there, and now let's get into, ladies and gentlemen, your straight up news. All right, hey, we're going to start over at government computer news. Apparently, the White House Deputy CTO, Chief Technology Officer, Andrew McLaughlin, is resigning from his job, and where he wants to start two companies, and one of them, where is it? No, I thought he said which one of them was. Of course, he was CTO since 2009, and he got offered the job from Barack Obama. So now he's planning to leave, and hopefully we won't have any problems with anything technology until a new CTO arrives. So if you want to read more on that, go over to Government Computer News, GCN.com. Sears and Kmart are launching a movie download service. They've decided that, hey, we need to get into this movie download thing because it's so cool and everybody's doing it, and we like to jump off of cliffs too. So anyway, they use what's called Sonic's Roxio Now platform to deliver the movies. It's similar to Best Buy's Cinema Now process, and the pricing is pretty similar too. Of course, you rent movies $3.99, $4.99 for HD versions of movies, and you can, I believe, you can buy discs for $10 to $20 a disc depending on the video. So, the real question though is, will you use it? Will you switch over to Sears, or is Sears kind of late in the game? Do you already have your stuff over at Walmart or over at iTunes or something like that? Let me know, 608-205-4378 or geekazine@gmail.com. In the meantime, you can go over to Mashable.com and check that article out from there. Amazon has patented a interesting return system. Now, they've just like anybody else, they get plagued with the fact that somebody sends them something. Like, for instance, this water bottle right here. I could send this as a gift, and then somebody goes, well, I already have a water bottle, so I'll just send it back and I'll get something else, maybe a piece of paper with what I had close by. But anyway, so they send it back to Amazon. Amazon has to go through the fees of shipping it back. They have to have the fees of restocking it, and of course that costs them. So what they're doing is they put together a system. And this system is trying to determine the gifts that people end up sending back, and they figured out a return system or a way to do it, so they don't have to go through this whole return process. And I think from what I read, it sounded like they would give them a gift, and they let them know about it, and if they didn't want the gift, they didn't have to get it. So it's kind of interesting how they're doing it, but it just sounds like that they're not sending anything until the receiver says, yeah, I'd like that, and which is good, because of course every time that something gets sent back to Amazon, then they have to endure costs, and then they're going to raise costs, and then we're just going to have this economic upswing, and nobody's going to be able to pay for anything. So I like the idea, but there's got to be some. I'm still not totally sold on how they're doing it. So we'll see what happens. It's actually pretty cool, and it's cool that they're thinking about it, and they're also, of course, patenting it, which means that any other company that tries to do it, they could sue them for it. So we'll see what happens from there. If you want to read more on this Amazon patent thing of the return system, you can go over to redorbit.com and check that out. Of course, the one thing you could get would be an Amazon gift card, and people wouldn't return that, right? Anyway, let's move on from there. Let's go over to G4TV.com. This is like, was this Assassin's Creed or something like that? Yeah, the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Over at G4.com, what they're doing is they're talking about the 10 top video games for the Xbox 360, the PS3, the Wii, and other games. Gamefly did a survey, and they found which games are coming up there. They have a top 10 list. Gran Turismo, Star Wars, Force Unleashed 2, Little Big Planet, Fable 3, no Angry Birds. But of course, Angry Birds is not for the Xbox or Wii or PlayStation 3. It's for your iPhone. So it'd be interesting to see what the top 10 on those are. So anyway, check that out. It's over at g4tv.com. Heading over to Tom's Hardware, how much did those AOL CDs cost? Of course, people, I guess they asked. And AOL's co-founder, Steve Case, answered the question and said they spent over $300 million at one point. Now, the CDs, a lot of people criticize the AOL CDs, but it's actually a very good guerrilla tactic. And they sent out CD after CD, and everybody used them as coasters, and it got to a joke, but everybody knew AOL. Everybody still knows what AOL is, even though they're kind of not where they were before. But, you know, they spent a ton on that guerrilla marketing technique, and it did pay off for a little while. But then after everything was said and done, and the dial-up market failed because everybody switched to broadband, that's when AOL kind of faltered. So if the dial-up was still around, then AOL would probably still be on top of the game for the next 5-10 years. Just think about that. Thank God we're not on dial-up. Oh my goodness. Anyway, go over to tomshardware.co.uk and check that out. Of course, if you are on dial-up, please let me know. Dial into your BBS over at Geekazine.com or just call me on the hotline 608-205-4378. Of course, you got to hang up from your internet connection first. Sorry. Or email me at geekazine@gmail.com. I could not imagine being on a dial-up anymore. Not one bit. Not one bit. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on here. McAfee has put out a report in the security area. This is over on cnet.com. They're basically saying that you want to check your smartphones. They are crime targets. So there's going to be a lot of interesting malicious activity in 2011 that's targeting smartphones. They're concerned about URL shorteners. They're concerned about geolocation services. And because when you go into Foursquare and you check in, then people know you're not home. And the next thing you know, they're casing out your house if they know where you live. Ladies and gentlemen, this reminds me. If you check into Foursquare or Places or anything like that, never, and I mean never, never, ever, 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 ever check into your home location. Never. Not even say off the grid. Don't do it. I warned you. You're saying, well, why is that? Because then people know where you live. It's as simple as that. So, anyway, McAfee's letting you know, hey, there's going to be a lot of attacks. Be very careful. You know, and a lot of people, this is the other thing. A lot of people have an iPhone, and they're thinking, because all these years that Mac says, oh, we're virus-free, we don't have all those types of attacks. The iPhone, you have virus attacks, which don't happen in Apple too much. It could happen. Possibilities there. Probabilities low. But you're still vulnerable to phishing attacks. You're still vulnerable to other types of malicious content or anything like that. That's why they're warning you. Your smartphone is not like your Mac. Your smartphone is not like your PC. And you gotta be a little bit concerned about this, and you've got to watch out what you're doing on your smartphone. Never, 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 unless you have a specific banking app, never do your banking over Safari on your iPhone. I would never do it. So, anyway, that's over at cnet.com. Everybody be safe. That's the most important thing. Just be safe with what you do online. That's all I'm saying. So, let's move on here. We're going over to ABC News. Of course, you might have heard about this guy. He's like, yeah, I did it. His name's Leon Walker. He's from Michigan. He was suspecting that his wife was with another guy, and so he broke into her email to start confirming that. The wife said, "Hey, that's not right. You've just breached security protocols. My privacy policy, our wedding privacy policy, just been breached, and I'm suing you." So I don't know if that's how that worked out, but it just sounded funny. So anyway, so he's going to jail. He's for breaking into his spouse's email. And I don't know, well, they must still be married, but I'm assuming that there's a divorce, and I'm assuming that she's going to get half that house and maybe one of his email accounts. I don't know. Do you get concerned when your spouse checks your email, checks your Facebook, checks your phone? Do you want to have your privacy like that? Let me know. 608-205-4378 or geekazine@gmail.com. This is actually a pretty cool little article, and it's over on cultamac.com. There was a father of a 5-year-old boy. The boy was born with a genetic disorder where he couldn't really speak. So the guy developed an iPad application that would help the boy convey what he's saying. Now, I used to work with people with special handicap. Our whole family did when I was young. And there were a couple kids that actually had those. It was just a piece of wood, and on that piece of wood had a whole bunch of words, and they would point to it to talk about what they wanted to talk about. And so now with this iPad app over here on that we see on Cultamac here, this is actually some way for the kids to really convey what they need to say to the parents, and it might be a big difference. Big difference. And if you want to check out the app is called Verbal Victor, and I'm not sure if it's free or not. Let me check on this article here really quick. Nope, it is a $10 application, but if you have somebody in your house that is a speech problem or cannot speak at all, or anything like that, maybe Roger Ebert or something like that, you can go and check that out over at cultamac.com. It might even be good for somebody else who can speak, like myself, and just really doesn't know how to speak sometimes. So, anyway, let's go to the last part of part 1, get you on your merry way to part 2 and part 3 and part 4. Who's going to be the next Mr. Mark Zuckerberg? All right, this is over at the smokingjacket.com because the smoking gun was already taken. But apparently, they're going through a list of some of the people that are possible Mark Zuckerberg material for the next big-time CEO or something like that. Brent Skoda from collegefitness.com. We have the brother-sister Dave and Catherine Cook that started myyearbook.com. I can't even pronounce that name. Maddie Nebelschutz. He is in Germany. He created a My Parfum. It makes possible for customers to design and order their own custom perfumes. So there's a list of CEOs here. A lot of cool stuff. But the real question is, who's going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg? Who's gonna take over the internet like no tomorrow, like a storm in the wind, like a wind in the storm, like a storm in the storm and the wind in the wind, and stuff like that. So in the meantime, I'm not going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. That's too much responsibility for me. I would like his bank account, though. So if Mark Zuckerberg, if you're listening, ha, 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 and you want to send me some money, you're more than welcome to. Then get me a couple of new cameras and actually take care of a few things and build up the Geekazine network, because I'm all for it. It's an investment, Mr. Mark Zuckerberg. It's an investment. In the meantime, the Geekazine Weekly Podcast will invest in a break, and we're going to show you a video from for the CES countdown. But for the audio people, you'll get a small commercial. We will be right back on the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. If you have any questions, 608-205-4378 or geekazine@gmail.com. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Andy McCaskey from SGR News and RV News Net for the Tech Podcast Network. Well, you found it. This is the countdown program that gives you some insight into the interviews and events and activities that we're expecting in our coverage for CES 2011. This coverage made possible by Audible and by the new Luxor, your chance to get to the point in Las Vegas. December 26th means that there are 11 days left before the start of CES, even though the Tech Podcast team is going to get there early. Here's one of the interviews that we're going to be featuring live from our booth at CES. Entourage, with its Pocket Edge, claims to be the world's smallest tablet and e-reader combination. I had a look at this last year, and I know that there's going to be improvements for the device this year. It's basically a tablet device. One side is an e-reader, an e-ink type of device, and on the other side it is a full-color tablet. The whole idea is that in an enhanced platform, users can enjoy ebooks, browse the web, watch videos, and listen to music, or take notes, or update documents, and quickly share them with friends. It includes a stylus for better touch response and allows you to easily mark up documents such as a digital contract or permission slip, which then can be sent through email. It is created by Entourage Systems, the developers of the first DualBook. TPN coverage of CES 2011, which features over 35 hours of live programming coverage, is brought to you in part by the new Luxor, your chance to get to the point for Las Vegas excitement.
Get to the point at the new Luxor Las Vegas. Experience the new high point for Las Vegas excitement. Luxor lights up the strip with the hottest nightlife. LAX shines as the best nightclub in Vegas. You can't resist. Enjoy all the pleasures of the pyramid. Get to the point.
Tech Zones, keynotes, conferences, and exhibits are just a part of what's going on at CES 2011. Here's a close look at some other events and activities that are happening the same time. Whether it's an iPhone, an iPad, or an iPod, whatever your iDevice, you want to come by the North Hall to the iLounge Pavilion. The iLounge Pavilion is one of the tech zones that features the latest and greatest third-party accessories and software for Apple's iPod, iPhone, iPad, and Macintosh platforms. From electronic plugins to fashionable cases, speakers, headphones, and exciting new games and applications, they claim that you'll be amazed by the opportunities created by great design and features. Totally separate from the iLounge Pavilion, I might take note that on our back channel, as we go through the International Pavilion and these very, very small booths and back alley types of aisles, you'll see all sorts of iDevices that pretty good copies. And I think you'll find that interesting as well as we cover CES 2011. Today's program is also brought to you by Audible.com, the world's leader in spoken audio entertainment. You can choose from over 35,000 titles that can be downloaded and played back on your mobile device, just like SGR News Podcast. And if you look carefully on your screen, you will see an address. And from this address, you'll be able to open an account and you'll get a free audio book. Not only will you get a free audio book, you'll help support the Tech Podcast Network and ensure that we have great coverage for CES 2012. Some of the conference tracks are set up for professional organizations. The IEEE has the International Conference on Consumer Electronics that is held from January 9 through 12. This is focused at the North Hall at the Las Vegas Convention Center, and it's not included with the All Access Pass. In fact, members have to pay from $370 to $815 to access that. They have their own conference dinner show, their own lunch ticket, and a printed conference digest that's all focused from the electrical engineer's perspective. One portion of the keynote on the State of the Industry keynote address Thursday, January 6th, it will be presented by Ivan Seidenberg. He is the chairman of the board and CEO of Verizon. In fact, he's led Verizon since its inception in 2000 following the merger of Bell Atlantic and GTE. During that time, there's been a transformation into a premier global network company, including a nationwide wireless network, high-speed fiber broadband direct to homes, and an expansion of the global internet backbone network around the world. Verizon's leadership in network innovation has earned the company numerous awards, including Fortune's 2010 World's Most Admired Company, which lists Verizon as number one in the telecommunications sector. Feel sure we'll have highlights from that speech, all a part of our coverage of CES 2011. Hey, don't forget to tune in to CES 2011 coverage from the Tech Podcast Network on your set-top box, whether it's a Boxy Box or through Roku TV. And tell your friends to go to tpn.tv or to any of the host sites and click on the Luxor logo. If you do that, you might be able to qualify for deals as low as $40 a night. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us here at the Tech Podcast Network. And remember, if it's tech, it's here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back. Thank you very much for hanging with me. This is the Geekazine, excuse me, the Geekazine weekly podcast. And all of a sudden, my throat just decides. How you doing? If you're, of course, you're listening on the audio, you missed a great video by Andy McCaskey on the CES coverage for CES 2011. Excuse me. And he talked about the Tech Zone, the IEE conference track, and the iLounge Pavilion in this episode. And, of course, he's been doing a full countdown. He's on day 11. He'll be doing these every single day until CES starts. So check that out. Go over to tpn.tv, and you can check all that video out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get back into your content because we got a couple more things to talk about. And, of course, if you have any questions, go over and call me at 608-205-4378 or geekazine@gmail.com. You can email me from there. All right, one thing that I'm excited about for CES, coming up in CES, is Samsung and what they're planning to do. Of course, I've been a good proponent on the Galaxy Tab. I like the look, I like the feel, I like how it works, and hope I get one of these days. You know, it could happen. It's very possible. So, but anyway, Samsung is saying that they're going to come out with a Galaxy Player, which is an iPod contender. So instead of them doing what everybody else does and tries to go after the iPhone, I think they're trying to take a step back, and they're trying to see what they can do in the MP3 player. The people that don't have iPhones but have iPods. And this is actually pretty interesting because not too many people are attacking the iPod area anymore. They're going straight for the smartphones. And I can't wait to see what Samsung is going to come out with. Of course, they have a keynote there over at CES. And I don't know if I'm going to that keynote or not. But I don't think I am. I think I'm doing live stream at that time. But anyway, they're going to unveil this Galaxy Player, which is a touchscreen multimedia device to go after the iPod Touch. And I would be very interested to see what happens. They're saying it's going to run Android 2.2, which is the Froyo version. It'll have a 1 gigahertz processor, 4-inch touchscreen, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 3.0, front and rear-facing cameras, HD video playback, and access to their Android market. However, I am a little concerned because I figured that they would at least get into a dual processor, anything over 1 gigahertz for that. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's perfect for an iPod player or their their Galaxy, it was a Galaxy player. They call it a G player. I don't know. Anyway, but that will be interesting to see what will happen. They'll have a 3.2 megapixel rear-facing camera, and I'm assuming was it a 5 megapixel aperture on some of those. So basically, they've got some pretty good specs. I wish the processor would have went to the dual core option, but the dual core is starting to come out. By this time next year, we'll be talking about dual core cell phones and dual core iPads and dual core tablets. I have no doubt in my mind. So I have a feeling the next version of the iPad tablet will be a dual core processor, which will be interesting because then programs like Photoshop could come out with a Photoshop Lite program for your tablet. Of course, I'm giving away too many secrets on the Geekazine and Friends prediction list, and I better be quiet there. We're going to be putting out the list in the next day or two. I've asked a whole bunch of people, what do you predict? What do you think is going to happen in 2011? If you have any thoughts, I got a couple days. Email me at geekazine@gmail.com or 608-205-4378. What's going to happen in 2011? Give me your predictions. Let's move on. We're going to go over to wallstreetjournal.com. I don't normally click to here, but I wanted to talk for a minute about this. And I think I can. Do I have to pay for this? Oh, I do have to pay for this. We'll have to link somewhere else. Stupid Wall Street Journal. Basically, we're talking about Google and the set-top box TV. Let's come up with something here. Yeah, okay. That should find me something here. Basically, Google said, "Hey, stop the production lines. Google reviews stop. We're gonna pull from the shelves for now. We're gonna wait a month. We're gonna see what happens. And Logitech review, hey, stop. Just stop. And Logitech came back and said, wait a minute, Google never told us that. So the review set-top box is still going. They're suspending production because of a software issue, but they're still going to go. I think Google is taking a step back with their set-top TV box, but I wouldn't be too concerned about it because I think what they're doing is they're taking that step back because they got a new idea that they want to debut at CES. And when they debut it at CES, then all of a sudden our production is going to go back, and it might even go back to the point where things are a little bit better. Now, what is that new thing that's going to happen? That's the real question. I have a feeling that they're going to announce more content. They're going to announce a partnership with somebody. I don't know who. My guess, I'm guessing CBS. I don't know why. It just feels right. But anyway, Google's just basically poisoning themselves for a big event. And they're creating a lot of buzz. They did it by saying, hey, stop production. So a lot of you are reading that and you're looking at that and going, oh my God, Google's going to stop with their TV, their Google TV? No. Google knows how important this is. I watched a Cisco video report the other day, and they're talking about how video is going to take over the internet. You'll have web pages still, and you'll have podcasts, and you'll have blogs and all that, but the majority of content that'll push through the internet is, of course, video. And then once terrestrial TV starts getting into the internet land, IPTV, that's going to change the game forever. Right now, CBS, NBC, ABC, they're very limited in this space. They've got Hulu, they've got what's on their website, and that's it. They don't want to cross over to these boxes just yet. Legal issues and monetary value. Will they get money for streaming on a Roku? Will they get money for streaming on a Google TV? Just don't have that full business model tied down just yet. That's what's happening with that. So if you're really concerned, maybe we shouldn't buy Google TV, Maybe we shouldn't buy a over-the-top television set just yet. I wouldn't worry about it too much. 30 days, we're going to have something big and cool from Google. I know it. I just know it in my genes, in my blood, in my heart, and everything else that it's going to happen. And of course, we'll be going, oh my goodness, yeah, that $199 price tag for a Logitech review is actually a good price tag. Or is it? No, it's not $199. It's like $249 or something like that. Anyway, excuse me. This is over at homemediamagazine.com where I linked to this. So basically, what do you think? Does this change your idea? Are you going to still get a Google TV? Do you decide, well, no, I'm going to stick with Apple TV or a Roku? I personally have Roku. I've been watching a lot of stuff. In fact, I just watched season 1 of Dead Like Me, which was a Showtime TV show. Of course, I've been watching all of the content over on techpodcast.tv, the twit.tv stuff, the Revision 3 stuff. I get content and I consume it on my couch, which is great. So Google TV, it's taking a step back I think it's taking one step back to take 2 steps forward. And we'll see. We'll find out in 30 days. 30 days. Mark my words. Anyway, let's move on from there. That's homemediamagazine.com. And of course, like I said, let me know what you think. Geekazine@gmail.com. All right, another thing that happened in the news today is Apple got sued. Sued. They basically said, hey, and this is over on PCMag.com, there was a lot of questions about application and the privacy. You know, what's interesting is I've been watching one of my applications, and it will go through a screen refresh. This is really weird. It goes through a screen refresh, and as it does, I see a whole bunch of jumbled lines. And for the first few times, I just didn't think about it too much. But then I started looking at it a little bit closer when it happens. And I noticed it was actually part of my email that was being mixed in with this game. And I haven't been able to take a picture of what happens here. But I'm a little bit concerned. I actually took the game off for now. I haven't been. I just don't like that idea that it could actually be taking a screenshot. If it is, I don't know, because it's just weird. It's like you open up one program, you don't expect another program to all of a sudden just flash up with information. It just doesn't. It doesn't make any sense to me. So anyway, Apple of course sent information to third parties. Privacy policies getting a little bit muddled in the applications, and everybody's thrown out applications left and right. Which companies are going to be good? Which companies are going to be bad? So on and so forth. But a California man has decided to file suit against some of the apps. His name is Jonathan Lalo. Wasn't that the guy from Real Genius? No, that was Laszlo. Never mind. Laszlo Holyfeld. We're just going to call him Laszlo Holyfeld. Laszlo Holyfeld filed a complaint in California District Court. He accused Apple of producing devices that allow ad networks to track users' app activity. He cites Backflip. Laszlo cites Backflip, Dictionary.com, Pandora, and the Weather Channel. Actually, it's not Laszlo Holyfeld. It's Jonathan Lalo. Lalo. I better do it that way. So basically, they're saying that they're selling additional information to ad networks. Users' location, age, gender, income, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and political views. So, and whether that's true or not, guess what? It happens all the time. It happens all the time. Sorry. Whether it's through a smartphone or not, it really doesn't matter. You know, you go to Facebook. Every time you go to Facebook or Twitter and say, hey, I'm going to Macy's. Hello? Data? They just collected information from you. Every time you Foursquare into a place, yeah, I'm at the Hooters. Yeah, they got that too. Sorry, Charlie, but I don't see this as too much of something that you sue for. You got to be aware of it, and maybe I'll get some money out of it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. If this is a class action lawsuit, or he's just going to try and make some money for himself. He's just upset that they didn't find that iPhone 4 in the bar, isn't it? I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that this holds any water? The reality is you're being tracked. The reality is any information you bring across the internet, it's data. And I've said this once, I've said this a million times, the person with the most data wins. Actually, I should say it, the person with the most data and knows how to use it wins. Because I can have your email addresses, I can have your names, I can have your phone numbers, I can have your actual addresses. And if I don't do anything with that list, it's pointless. But if I email you, if I send stuff to your house, if I call you, then I'm using it. The person with the most data wins. And that's the beauty of Twitter. That's the beauty of Facebook. That's the beauty of smartphones, is they gather data. They give data. They send data. They bring data. They bring it back again and they give it to you. They regurgitate it. Apple gives you your data to Facebook, which will then in turn give it to Microsoft, which will then in turn give it to Samsung, which will then in turn give it to Sprint, which will then in turn give it to Android, which will then in turn give it to AT&T, which will then in turn give it to Apple. Think about that. That's if you don't think that somebody can't get your phone number, you're kidding yourself. Gone are the days of private lines, private home phone lines. So it just doesn't happen anymore. Anyway, we need to control it. We really do. Excuse me. But I don't know. It's not that way. It's not this way. And I don't know what this Jonathan Laylo's doing. But he's mostly making awareness, because that's all it is. So anyway, what are your thoughts? You think you're getting cataloged for the eternal life that you lead through your smartphone or through Facebook or through whatever? Let me know, 608-205-4378 or geekazine@gmail.com. All right, last part of part 2, and then we're going to get you on your way. And that is this one right here. It's 10 top 10 tech companies you should probably know about for 2011. This is over on popularmechanics.com. Company like Flywheel Energy Storage, Whitespace Wireless. This was interesting. It's called fracking. And no, this isn't a Caprica thing. Apparently, there's something called hydraulic fracturing, and it's called fracking. It's basically trying to get quantities of natural gas up to the surface so they can use it. So they're fracking you, and the frack. Anyway, medical isotope shortages. There's a whole bunch of stuff here. This is over on popularmechanics.com, and some pretty cool terms and concepts that you should probably be aware of for this next year, because this next year is happening in three days, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Oh, the new year is it's amazing. It's amazing. Hey, I want to tell you guys, thank you guys, everybody, for watching the video. We get more video watchers than we do podcast listeners, which is interesting. So thank you guys very much for coming down and watching me on the big screen. Listen to the podcast in your car and wherever you're listening to the podcast. Thank you very much for making Geekazine for the last 3 years one of your shows. Maybe you haven't been listening for 3 years, but I know I have. Thanks to everybody that's been listening to Day in Tech History over at www.dayintechhistory.com, watching the 5 tech things you should know about. And we've had some great numbers over at the 5 tech things. The new shows are going to be starting in 2011. Geekazine is going to be going through some small changes. The Geekazine Weekly Podcast. Now, next week, CES, I'm not promising any show, but I'm not going to say that we're not going to do a show. Because I've been going 3 years every single week without missing a show. And there was even 1 week where I did 2 shows in the week because I thought I wasn't going to hit that show, and then it turned out that I had time to do it, so I did another show. So we're going to keep going, and maybe I might just take a week off. Depends on how much content we go through CES here. So if that's the case, then please be patient. We will be back. We will not. If that's the case, then the next show will actually not be 2 weeks from today, but it will be 2 weeks from tomorrow, and that would be the because I get back on the 12th from going to Dallas to going to Houston, coming back. So probably sometime on the afternoon of the 12th or the 13th, I'm actually going to do the show. Now, if that confuses you, I'm sorry. 5 tech things you should know about will probably also be on hiatus. So don't look for that there unless I do something special. So, but anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. I really do appreciate everybody that's come to the show. I'd like to thank all the sponsors that we've had this last year. We've had Audible. We've had GoDaddy. We've had Stitcher. We've had Mosey. We've had, of course, Citrix. Thank you guys very much. You've helped me pay the bills and keep the lights on. And of course, I'd like to thank everybody that's been out there listening and contributing. You know, Frank has been diligent on putting Linux stuff up on Geekazine.com. Douglas has been doing Sportazine.com, and of course, my brother Tom has been doing a little bit over on Dorkazine.com. Of course, if you'd like to write for any of those blogs, please let me know at geekazine@gmail.com. geekazine@gmail.com. And of course, if you are a company and wants to sponsor the Geekazine weekly podcast through the video or through the audio, please let me know. Almost forgot, Wirecast, thank you guys very much. HP, thank you guys very much. Dell, thank you guys very much. You weren't sponsors, but HP or Dell weren't sponsors, but they brought us to some great events, and we got to see some cool stuff because of that. So anyway, that's it. Thanks a lot for 2010. We will see you next year. And next year we're going to go. We're going to be in Las Vegas, baby. So that should be pretty cool. So check everything out over at tpn.tv for the CES coverage. We're going to have a lot of fun, and I think I'm just going to collapse afterwards. So anyway, 608-205-4378. Phone number, geekazine@gmail.com. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. This is the Geekazine Weekly Podcast. You guys have a safe holiday season and new year. And we'll see you next year. Take care.